हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. This is part of the monthly third Saturday discussion on Bhagavad Gita. In the last session in May, we had discussed Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 18. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina anashino apremeyasya tasmat yudhasva bharata. In this month's discussion, it is text 19. The verse is Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. यैनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. Word by word. Ya, anyone. Enam, this. Veti, knows. Hantaram, the killer. Ya, anyone. Cha, also. Enam, this. Manyate, things. Hatam, killed. Ubhau, both of them. Tau, they. Na, never. Vijanita, in knowledge. Na, never. I am this. Hanti, kills. Na, nor. Hanyate, be killed. Translation. He who thinks that the living entity is a slayer or that he is slain does not understand. One who is in knowledge knows that the self slays not nor is slain. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as is evident from the previous verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed, or is supposed to be killed, is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma himsyat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. Yaenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. He who thinks that the living entity is the slayer or that he is slain does not understand. One who is in knowledge knows that the self slays not nor is slain. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram अत्र स्वरूपम् रूपं तस्याग्रजं मुरुपुरीं माधुरीं गोष्ठावती राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरम् अहो राधिका माधवाशं प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतितकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुता पदकमलं श्रीगुरू वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text 19. Yainam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. He who thinks that the living entity is the slayer or that he is slain does not understand. One who is in knowledge knows that the self slays not nor is slain. In this verse, again, Krishna is emphasizing the eternal aspect of the living entities. So, ya enam veti hantaram. So, one, he who thinks that the living entity is the slayer, yes chainyam manyate hatam, or that he is slain, ubhau tauna vijanito, does not understand. Both don't understand. So one who is in knowledge, nayam hanti na hanyate, knows that the self slays not nor is slain. So this is the concept of the understanding of the eternal nature of all the living entities. This Krishna mentions na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. This is the original constitutional position of all the living entities, is that this ajo nityam, aja, so unborn, nityam, eternally existing, shashvatoyam, eternally existing, purano, so there is no time, We cannot trace a time in where the living entity has actually taken birth. So the real this the our constitutional position is that we are eternal, and when we are eternal, the activities are when the activities are done from the platform of being eternal and in the platform of linking with the Lord. So yajnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So the Krishna mentions to Arjuna that all the activities have to be done as an offering of love to the Lord. So when all the activities are done in that intention, in that frame of mind, then uh, then there is no binding due to those activities. The bondage to the activities happens when the living entity is doing the activity with the frame of mind that I want to get something out of it. So then the bondage happens. When the living entity is expecting, when someone is performing an action and expecting some result out of it, then the bondage happens. So therefore, Krishna says, "Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha." So without getting attached to that particular activity, do your activity. So that is the karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalhetur bhut mate sangotsva akarmani. So this is a very famous verse where Krishna says about how how the how the activities needs to be performed. So Krishna is saying there that karmanye evadi karaste. So every living entity has to perform some action or the other. Once even in the eternal frame of mind, the activities are being done as a constant glorification of the Lord. So that is satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhradavrada namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. So this is in that eternal frame of mind, the only activity is that is being done is kirtayanto mam. So glorification of the Lord, and how it is being done satatam, incessantly, every moment. So that is the eternal occupational duty of all the living entities. Dharma swanushtita pumsam vishvakshena kathasuya notpade ratim yadi shrama eva hi kevalam. So what is the swanushtita dharma? So what is the intrinsic activity that all the living entities are naturally involved in? That is the glorification of the Lord. That is naturally done. So nitya siddha Krishna prema sadhya kabonai shravanadi shuddha chitte korai odai. This is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that this eternal loving service, devotional service to the Lord is established in the hearts of all the living entities. So it is something that is eternally established. Therefore, this process of spiritual pursuit is actually called the process of self-realization or God realization. What is the reason it is called self-realization? Because the attributes are already there. All the attributes that that make us linked to the Lord at every moment is already there within us. It's just because the living entity has been taking birth after birth since time immemorial, this eternal link is not seen. It's not even though it is there, it's not seen. So therefore, this Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. So when this activity of hearing about the Lord is done, what Bhagwan has told in Bhagavad Gita, and what the all the activities of Bhagwan that is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we try and have a little bit of inclination for all this, for listening about the Lord and speaking about the Lord, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnum Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpitam Vishnu Bhakti Chet Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Adha Tanmanye Aditam Uttamam. So this is said by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned. So, what are the activities that that the living entity can get involved in? So, it starts with Shravanam, so hearing about the Lord. So, when we are hearing about the Lord, then we can speak about the Lord, Kirtanam. And when we are hearing and speaking about the Lord, then we can remember the Lord, Smaranam. And then when we are hearing, speaking, and remembering the Lord, then obviously we want to do something in relation to the Lord. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. So then the actual service, the service attitude is getting inculcated through hearing, chanting, and remembering. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam. Then offering flowers to the Lord, Vandanam, saying prayers to the Lord, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, becoming the servant of the Lord, Sakhyam, becoming the friend of the Lord, and Atmanivedanam. So Atmanivedanam is like the example of Bali Maharaj, who even his guru Shukracharya told him that this is dwarf Brahmana is who is Vamana is none other than Lord Vishnu himself, who has disguised himself as a dwarf Brahmana, and he wants to take away everything from you. So Shukracharya, his guru, Bali Maharaj's guru, says this to Bali Maharaj, but he is, because he is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, so he has got all those great devotional qualities. So then Bali Maharaj is saying that he says that now I have decided that I'm going to give whatever this dwarf Brahmana is going to ask me, and I'm ready to do that. So he even is not, so his guru is saying that don't do that, but he wants to do because of this devotional intensity that is there to serve the Lord. So that is Atmanivedanam. So that when the devotional intensity to serve the Lord is there, then as Bali Maharaj, one is ready to do anything for the Lord. So we know the story of Vamana Avatar, where the dwarf Brahmana becomes huge and takes the whole universe, and then the whole the second step is the whole lower planetary systems, and then where is the third step? Where should I put my third step? And then Bali Maharaj says, please put it on my head. So this is a topmost kind of devotional service, Atma Nivedanam. So giving the self to the Lord, and that is the highest state. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargenava Kalpita. So this is it's very similar in the Vrindavan Leela, where when the gopis hear Krishna playing the flute, they leave everything and they just run towards Krishna. So that's the Atma Nivedanam. They are so much naturally attracted to Krishna that nothing else is more important than that. This particular verse is a kind of the basics, understanding the basics in terms of our original constitutional position as an eternal Jivere Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas Krishnasya Tatastha Shakti Bheda Bheda Prakash Suryansh Kirna Yatha Agni Jwala Chaya Krishner Teen Prakar Shakti Haya. So this is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the original constitutional position of all the living entities is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and this service is rendered in different ways, in different moods, according to the moods of the different devotees. The service is rendered to the Lord. Sujiveri Swarupaya Krishnasya Tatastha Shakti. And the other important concept here is that the living entities are Tatastha Shakti. So they are Tata is the place where the beach in an ocean where the water can come sometimes and water recedes back. So water comes to the land, water recedes back to the ocean, and that place is the Tata. So similarly, when the living entity is getting this body, immediately there is identification with this external body, and because of this identification, the living entity is thinking that I am material, I'm not spirit, I'm matter. But that is so matter by itself cannot do anything. That is so what's the difference between a living body and a dead body? So the difference is that there was something in the living body which animated the living body, which has gone, and that's why the body has become dead. So body by itself is always dead unless there is the presence of that spiritual spark which is animating the body, and because of that, if that understanding is 100% clear, so adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanam iti proktam yadeto ajnanam anyatha. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that this adhyatma jnana, so this adhyatma is the knowledge about our original constitutional position. So that is the real knowledge. So Krishna says adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam. And the tattva jnana, so what is this tattva jnana? This about the real truth. What is it? So this antaranga shakti, bahiranga shakti, and tatastha shakti. So these are the tattvas. So the internal energy of the Lord, the external energy of the Lord, and the marginal energy of the Lord. So bhumirapo analo vayu kammana buddhirevacha ahankaram itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtada. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that earth, water, fire, air, ether is a space, and then mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are my separated energies. So we can see that the body is composed of all those elements. So the earth element is there, the water element is there, the fire element is there, the air element is there, and then the space element is there. So because the body is occupying space, so that occupation of that space is a space element. The body has got something gross, so that is the earth element. The body has the blood running through it, so that is a water element. We breathe, and the air is going inside. So that is a air element. Fire, the fire digestion is there in the belly. So aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashrita pranapana samayuktam pachamyanyam chaturvidham. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that he is present as the Vaishvanara Agni. So that's the fire of digestion. So the fire element is there. So body is made up of all those elements, and when the living spark is leaving the body, all those elements gets back. So the earth part will get to the earth, the fire part will become fire, the water part will become water. So it's getting formed out of all those elements, and then it again gets back to those elements. So this is the understanding where there is this where it is said about this nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata ubhayor api drishtantas tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. So we have discussed this in the previous verse when we were discussing this monthly discussions, that this whatever is temporary, whatever changes constantly, that means it is not enduring. It is not it is not existing eternally. So, and how are we able to see that everything is changing constantly? Because there is something within us which doesn't change at all. So that is the, even in physics, if we study the law of motion, if two say for example, if two moving vehicles are moving at the same speed in the same direction, and if a person in this vehicle is looking at the person in that vehicle, they will feel as if there is no movement at all. They will feel as if they are stationary. So why is that? Because both are moving in the same direction at the same speed. So then both think that there is no movement at all. It's scientific. So how are we perceiving all the change that is happening in the universe? Because there is something within us which is not changing, which never changes, and that we are. So we are something that, so na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. So of the eternal, there is, it is always existing, and that is, it's mentioned in the previous verse when we discussed 2:18. There is antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. So this body is destructible, but the the proprietor of the body, the possessor of the body, is eternal. So that understanding, that that the actual person who is owning the body, that we are not the. So when that understanding is there, then any activity that is being performed is not being performed actually by the eternal living entity that we are. It is being performed by the external. So the modes are interacting with the modes. So there are different modes that the body is under the influence of. So there would be so satvat sanjayate jnana, rajasa lobham evacha, then the tamasa. So this pramada moho tamaso bhavato ajnanam evacha. So satvat sanjayate jnana. So when we are in mode of goodness, we are trying to get engaged in these discussions. We are trying to hear about our original constitutional position, our association, our eternal association with the Lord. So this can be done in mode of goodness, but because we have this material body, it actually is under the influence of different types of modes. So sometimes it comes under the influence of mode of goodness, and then we get the inclination to hear and chant about the Lord and try to understand our original constitutional position. But sometimes the body and mind is under the influence of mode of passion. So then so satvat sanjayate jnana, rajasa lobham evacha. So this in the mode of passion, then there is greed and envy, and basically there is a lot of activity that is being done for gratifying the senses, because in the material realm, the only thing that we understand is senses and gratifying the senses. Yeah, there is nothing else. We don't understand about anything else. So we see. So we have all that the senses of acquiring knowledge and senses of action. So there is 5 senses of acquiring knowledge, like the eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin. So that's getting the from the external environment. It is absorbing all the things that is coming from the external environment, and then the sense of action is there. So hands, legs, and all those sense of action, speech. So all this sense of knowledge, acquiring knowledge, and sense of action is because there is no understanding of the our real constitutional position. Because of that, the only thinking is how to satisfy the senses, and in that becomes a very shallow kind of situation. So if we want to go into the depth of happiness, so Ramante Yogina Anante Satyanande Chidatmani Iti Rama Padenashu Param Brahma Abhidiyate. So if you want to go into the real happiness, because the happiness that is the so-called happiness that is gathered from the senses is nateshu ramate Buddha. So this is yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evate adyantavanta kaunteya. So this kind of happiness that comes from the senses has got a beginning and has got an end. Just like body has got a beginning and body has got an end. Similarly, any experience that this body is taking has got a beginning and it has got an end. It could be happy experiences, it could be sad experiences, but everything does come to an end. So therefore, na teshu ramate Buddha. So Krishna mentions that an intelligent person therefore does not delve in them too much. So it might come to the person. It's not that a person is totally devoid of any experiences. Then person becomes dead. If there is no experiences, then the person is dead. It's not that the person is devoid of experiences. It's just that the person is not identifying with those with the swing, the pendulum that happens in the material world. The material world is a pendulum. So there is a so it goes through. So we have some states where we are extremely happy, and we have some states where we are extremely dejected. So this it's sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsisi. So this is a very good statement, transcendental statement coming from Krishna, where Krishna is saying that either sukha dukkhe same kritva. So whether there is happiness, external happiness that is coming, or whether there is external distress that is coming, don't be too much entangled in them. So try to have an equanimity of mind. Labha labho jaya jayo. So when someone is gaining something or someone is losing something, someone is victorious in something or someone is getting defeated in something. So this keeps on changing. So tato yuddhaya yujyasva. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna that then you do the fight. In the equanimous state of mind, you fight, and then there is no acceptance of the reactions of that work. So this is what is mentioned in this verse. Yainam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhav tauna vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. So whoever is thinking that the living entity is the slayer or the living entity is the slain, both of them don't know, because a living entity does not slay or does not get slain. So this is and why is that? Because when the activities are being performed from the stage of our original constitutional position as an offering of love to the Lord, then there is no there is nothing coming back as a return to bear more. So all this this cycle of birth and death is happening because we think that this is the only reality. We think that the material body is the only reality. There is no reality other than that. But actually, the real reality is at the stage of internalization. So when we understand that we are eternally existing, we are eternally related to the Lord, and there is nothing that we need because the Lord is providing everything. So Om Purnamada Purnamadam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So this is an invocation mantra in Sri Ishopanishad. which is saying that Purnamada Purnamidam. So, so the Lord is full, and since we are part and parcels of the Lord, we are also full in our minute proportions. So Lord is Vibhu and we are Anu. So there is Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam, Vibhum. So Arjuna addresses Krishna like that. He says that you are the supreme Brahman, Param Brahma. You are the supreme abode, Param Dhamma, Pavitram. You are the most pure. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham. So you are the original person, Shashvatam, Divyam. You are transcendental, Adi Devam. You are the origin of all the other demigods. Ajam, you are unborn, and Vibhum, you are the greatest. So Anoranyan Mahato Mahiyan. So Krishna can be smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. That is the inconceivable potency of the Lord. That he is within each and every nucleus, and he is within the whole universe as well. So this is the inconceivable potency of the Lord. This is the understanding that if we can see, we can Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. So if we can see the presence of Lord everywhere, in every atom, it's like how Prahlad Maharaj had that episode that we know about, where Hiranyakashipu says that if the Lord is there in every atom, then he should be there in this pillar. So Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, he's in this pillar. Then Hiranyakashipu breaks that pillar, and there comes Narasimhadev. So this is how is Narasimhadev coming? Because of the unalloyed devotional attitude of Prahlad Maharaj. So that is the Paritranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya Chadushkrutam. So the main purpose why the Lord incarnates is to, in order to give the association to the devotees and to bring them out of adverse circumstances. So that is the next is Vinashaya Chadushkrutam. So the next is basically to kind of do the miscreants, annihilate the miscreants. So then Dharma Samsthapanarthaya, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. This is the kind of understanding that we have to try and inculcate through these verses, where Krishna is saying that, so one who is thinking that the living entity is slayed or he slays, both are not thinking the right way, because but this is only when the activities are being performed at the spiritual platform. So this is what Srila Prabhupada actually mentions as well. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. So this is that understanding that because everyone is eternal and no one is the external body, thinking that if a person is whimsically trying to harm others, then that is abominable. So this is the danger of anything actually. It can either be used for good things or it could be used for bad things. So that's why the intention is extremely important. What is the intention with which any activity is being performed? Is the intention to help others? Is the intention to bring peace and tranquility and love and togetherness among all people? If that is the intention, then if sometimes that activity has some kind of negative elements in it, but if the final goal is to bring about real peace and happiness and inculcation of brotherhood among everyone, then that is, so this we can see in the Kurukshetra war. So even though it was war, but what was the reason for the war? What was the intention behind the war? To bring in a society where everyone is peaceful and everyone is given the independence to practice what they want to practice, especially in relation to spiritual activities. So one of the negatives of the Tanaham Dvishata Kruran Samsareshu Naradhaman Kshipami Ajasram Ashubhan Asurishva Eva Yonishu. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that Dvishata Kruran. So those are the negative qualities that so enviousness and cruelness. So if those are the attributes, then that is going to create disharmony in the world. And disharmony in the world is something that the Lord doesn't want. That's why he himself incarnates. The Lord wants harmony, unity, peace, wherein everyone is working together in order to so samsiddhir haritoshanam. So this is the Atha Pumbir Dvija Shreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanushtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So this is the kind of goal, especially someone who has devotional intention and devotional frame of mind. The goal is Swanushtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So this total perfection can be achieved when the Lord is satisfied. Toshanam, Hari is Krishna's another name. So when through our activities, so this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sutta Goswami is addressing everyone as Dvija Shrestha. So he's saying that everyone is the best among Brahmanas. He's saying Atha Pumbhir. So what is the activity that everyone should be involved in? So Atha Pumbhir, O best among the Brahmanas, Dvija Shrestha, Varnashrama Vibhagasha. So if the activities are done according to the Varna and Ashrama, so the Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Ashrama is Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So this Varnashrama is just like how our eternal nature is there within us eternally. Similarly, when we have this material body, this inclination is naturally there. So there would be this inclination. Some people would have this inclination to engage in studies. And especially spiritual studies, that you are saying that, and that is Brahmana. Some people are naturally inclined to do administrative work and try and bring some order in the way the things are done. So then that's Kshatriya. So then someone would have more inclination towards doing business, naturally inclined to do business. So we know, so even in different countries, for example, in India, there's particular community who are really they have got this knack to do business. So then that's a Vaishya community, and then there is a community who would like to serve others, and then that's the Shudra community, and then so there is nothing. So there is nothing high and low here. The only thing there is service to the Lord. So in service to the Lord, there is nothing high and low. Everything is equal, because the Lord is transcendental. In the transcendental realm, there is nothing high and low. Everything is transcendental. In the material realm, we create these gradations that someone is low, someone is high, or someone is in the middle. It's all gradations based on matter. But when there is spirit, there is only service. In the spiritual realm, there is only service. There is nothing else. And that service is based on harmonious relationship with everyone, being on the same platform of service. The platform is service. There is nothing else other than service. And that is what is said. Swanushtitasya dharmasya. So when person is engaged in service according to their natural propensities and inclinations, and then there is perfection. So people can achieve perfection, and that perfection is done in relationship with satisfying the Lord. Then the Lord gets satisfied. So this is the understanding when we are thinking about the material body, because we, in the material world we cannot, even though we know very clearly that matter is constantly changing and is not, and therefore is not something that we put our faith on, but at the same time, because it's only the matter that we see in the material world, we have to work with matter, and we have to work with matter in such a way that that matter is used in the service of the Supreme. And when that is done, the matter itself becomes spiritual. And then when the matter becomes spiritual, then the activities that are being done become spiritual. And when the activities are spiritual, then there is no reaction coming back from the activities. The reaction happens only when we think that it is a matter, the matter is performing, and the matter wants something back in return. So when that thinking is there, then there is this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. There is this constant cycle of birth and death that one constantly has to face, because the thinking is that we are only the matter. When that thinking is there, then one has to come back again and again to matter. If the thinking is that we are spirit, then one goes back to spirit. One is in that realm, the spiritual realm. So, Abrahma Bhuna Loka, Punaravartino Arjuna, Mamupiti tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. So, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that from the Brahmaloka onwards, there is this Punarjanma. So, Mamupeti Punarjanmam, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, Napnuvanti Mahatmana Samsiddhim Paramamgata. So this samsiddhi is again there used. Samsiddhir haritoshanam samsiddhi paramamgata. So mamupetya punarjanmam dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So this material world is being addressed as an abode of dukkha, misery. And what is the reason? Because the basis of material world is matter, and matter can never give happiness. The happiness is always given by spirit. It is because matter by itself is dead unless the presence of spirit is there. So, and anything can be experienced only when spirit is there. If there is only matter, nothing can be experienced. So, even to experience anything, the requirement is there of having spirit there within that matter, and that is the concept that we are. So even that fleeting moments of so-called happiness and so-called distress that we experience in the material world, even that, if we want to experience it, we need to have spirit behind the matter, even to experience those fleeting moments of happiness and distress. What to speak of experiencing the constant bliss that is experienced. So Ramante Yogina Anante. So this unlimited, unending bliss that the yogis experience. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyantiyam yogina. So this is so when one is in dhyana, when one is meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, then tadgatena manasa. Then when the mind is in that meditative state on the lotus feet of the Lord, then one sees the Lord. So bhakti yogena manase samyak pranahite amale apashyatam purusham purnam mayam chatad apashrayam. So this is what Vyasadeva says, that when he was purified with loving devotional sentiments for the Lord, samyak pranihite amale. So there was no remains of any material inclinations, hankerings. So when one is 100% absorbed in the mind is absorbed in bhakti, and there is no trace, not even an iota of trace of material inclinations, then apashyatam purusham purnam. Then he saw that the Lord himself, the Purusham Purnam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he also saw that the material energy was dependent on the Lord. So material energy is not independent of the Lord. And therefore, Krishna says, Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Krishna is saying it's my maya, my material energy. So it's very potent. It has huge potency. It is extremely difficult to overcome the material energy. But how can it be overcome? Mam eva padinte. So Krishna says that if someone is surrendering onto me, I ensure that I help them to. No one else can mukti pradada sarvesham vishnur eva na samshaya. So no one else can help the living entities to cross the ocean of birth and death, bhava sagar. So it's called bhava sagar. So sagar is the ocean, and bhava is this constant birth and death in the material world. So the only way. So there is karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So in karma yoga, the relationship with the Lord is being done through activities, through service. But then what kind of service has to be performed? So then again the bhakti comes in there. So the service that is in the understanding that everything belongs to the Lord. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincham jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrada kasya sviddhanam. That everything is the Lord's. So when that understanding is there, and when activities are performed with that understanding, then that is the karma yoga. And then it becomes bhakti as well, because whenever there is yoga is linking. So viyoga is separation. Yoga means linking. So so this is quite important to understand this, as well as tomorrow would be the International Yoga Day. So what is the real meaning of yoga? So asanas is just one part of yoga. In the Ashtanga yoga, that is from Patanjali. The bodily postures that one engages in to get a healthy body and healthy mind is just one part of the yoga. It is not the complete yoga. So there are yama, niyama. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So that is the goal is samadhi. So bhoga ishwarya prasaktanam taya paruta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidiyate. So this samadhi, how is this samadhi achieved? When there is control over the mind and the senses, only then this samadhi can be achieved. Why? Because if there is no control over the mind, then mind is chanchalam hi mana krishna pramati balavad dridam tasmad nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkara. So even Arjuna concedes that Arjuna was Krishna's friend, and it was there 5,000 years ago. So at that time, people had more control of mind, control of senses. There were not too many distractions. We have created a lot of distractions now in this age. So even at that time, Arjuna was saying, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. So this mind is very difficult to control. Pramati balavadridam. It's very obstinate. It is determined to be to go from one thing to another constantly, jumping from one thing to another like a monkey. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. So to control it is even difficult than controlling the wind. You can see to control the wind is not an easy thing. So even difficult than that. So then Krishna says, asamshaya mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena to kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. He says that absolutely, undoubtedly, Arjuna, it is very difficult to control the mind. Krishna concedes that as well. Krishna says that it is very difficult, but it can be controlled how? By abhyasena, through practice, and vairagyena cha gruhyate, and through detachment. Through practice and detachment. And how does this detachment come? When we understand these statements, which is there in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 19. So the statement where it is said that, this understanding that we are not just this external body, external mind, external intelligence. We are we are something beyond. We are the subtlest of the subtle. So the gross, we can see the gross body, but has anyone seen the mind? No. But we know mind exists because the thoughts are coming every moment. The unlimited, like the number of thoughts that we get every moment would be unimaginable. So the thoughts are there, the mind is there, the intelligence is there, the logic. So the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. So one side is logical, another side is emotional. So the mind, intelligence, and then the false ego is the false ego is the one that is linking the eternal real us into this temporary external body. That's the link, and that false ego is the one that creates problems every time, because the false ego is based on the name itself, this ahankara. So it's based on, so there is a real ego. The real ego is this understanding that I am eternally linked. I am an eternal entity, eternally linked with the Lord. So that is a real ego. And what is a false ego? The false ego is thinking that I am this body, and I have this designation, I have that designation. So immediately when we are born in a particular country, we say that I am from that country. So I am Indian, I am Irish, I am American. Immediately there is designation. When we get a body, there is designation. And then son of so and so, then brother of so and so, sister of so and so. So many designations. And then the whole material world is based on designations. And therefore, to come out of the material world, one has to take out all those designations. So that is said by Narada Muni, Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. So when we take away all the designations, then we become pure. We understand our real nature, that it is free from all designations. It is not dependent on anything except the lotus feet of the Lord. There is no other dependency. So it's totally independent. It's not dependent on getting some accolades from somewhere. It's totally independent. Whether someone, it's all based on matter. This accolades and this receiving affirmations from others. It's all based on the external body and mind. But when we are on the platform of eternal spiritual being, there is nothing like that. It is prasannatma. So when we know that aham brahmasmi, when we know that we are eternally existing living entity, then one is naturally joyful and blissful, independent of external circumstances. The external circumstances can be conducive or cannot be conducive. It doesn't. There is no dependence on external circumstances. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So then there is no na shochati na kamshati. So there is no hankering, there is no lamentation. It's hankering that causes all the trouble. So when there is false ego, the false ego is saying this, I am this body. Then this body has got some particular needs. Some needs are legitimate because I have to maintain my body for the spirit to remain there, so that I can keep trying to come out of, to reach the spiritual state. So therefore, some needs are essential, but some needs are non-essential. Some needs are just hankering. The need to be recognized, or the need to get appreciation from someone. So all this is all hankerings. It's based on the false ego. It's on the platform of false ego, and that gives so that's a hankering. And when one does not get it, one is in the situation of lamentation. Oh, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. So then, this is samadhavana vidyate. So this bhoga ishwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidyate. Bhoga ishwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam. Yes. So vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakhahi anantascha buddhyo avyavasayina. So this, so Krishna mentions about this thing called vyavasayatmika buddhi, and that is this one-pointed intelligence in thinking, in directing to the lotus feet of the Lord. So when that is there, then ekeha, it's only directed towards this, towards the Lord. Then there is, but the person who is bahushakhahi anantascha. So the person who is not one-pointed, then they're thinking of thousands and hundreds of things. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nirnam Santi Sahasrasa Apashyatam Atmatattvam Graheshu Grahamedinam. This, so there is taking inputs from thousands and thousands of other things because Apashyatam Atmatattvam, because one did not see the original eternal person that we are. So because of that, there is this inclination to go to thousands of different things. The mind is scattered, and when the mind is scattered, there is no. So dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, those are the last three states of yoga. Dharana is when mind is concentrated on one element for a certain period of time. Dhyana is even more than that, even more than dharana, dhyana, and samadhi is total absorption. Total absorption in the Lord. So then, when there's total absorption in the Lord, then nothing else is needed, and that is the spiritual state that we all can aim for in the human form of life. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm really grateful that we have this opportunity to discuss spiritual topics in this human form of life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.